Science Standard 6, Chapter 3, Fibre to Fabric. Paheli and Bujo won the first prize in a science quiz competition held at their school. They were very excited and decided to use the prize money to buy clothes for their parents. When they saw a large variety of cloth material, they got confused. Figure 3.1. The shopkeeper explained that some clothes or fabrics were cotton and some were synthetic. COTTON, cotton, 2 O's and 2 T's. SYNTHETIC, synthetic. Syn, SYN, the, THETIC, tick, synthetic. He also had woolen mufflers and shawls. There were many silk saris as well. Paheli and Bujo felt very excited. They touched and felt these different fabrics. Finally, they bought a woolen muffler and a cotton sari. After their visit to the cloth shop, Paheli and Bujo began to notice various fabrics in their surroundings. They found that bed sheets, blankets, curtains, tablecloths, towels and dusters were made from different kinds of fabrics. Even their school bags and the gunny bags were made from some kind of fabric. They tried to identify these fabrics as cotton, wool, silk or synthetic. Can you also identify some fabrics? 3.1 Variety in fabrics. Activity 1. Visit a nearby tailoring shop. Collect cuttings of fabrics left over after stitching. Feel and touch each piece of fabric. Now try to label some of the fabrics as cotton, silk, wool, or synthetic after asking for help from the tailor. Do you wonder what these different fabrics are made of? When you look at any fabric, it seems a continuous piece. Now look at it closely. What do you notice in figure 3.2, which shows you an enlarged view of a piece of fabric? Activity 2. Select a piece of cotton fabric you labeled in Activity 1. Now try to find a loose thread or yarn at one of the edges and pull it out as shown in figure 3.3. If no loose yarns are visible, you can gently pull one out with a pin or a needle. We find that a fabric is made up of yarns arranged together. What are these yarns made of? 3.2 Fibre, F-I-B-R-E. Fibre, F-I-B-R-E, fibre. Activity 3. Take out a yarn from a piece of cotton fabric. Place this piece of yarn on the table. Now press one end of the yarn with your thumb. Scratch the other end of the yarn along its length with your nail as shown in figure 3.4. Do you find that at this end the yarn splits up into thin strands as shown in figure 3.5? Yes, the yarn does split up into thin strands. You might have observed something similar when you try to thread a needle. Thread a needle, thread a needle. Many a time the end of the thread is separated into a few thin strands. This makes it difficult to pass the thread through the eye of the needle. The thin strands of thread that we see are made up of still thinner strands called fibers, F-I-B-R-E-S. Fabrics are made up of yarns and further made up of fibers. Where do these fibers come from? Where do these fibers come from? The fibers of some fabrics, such as cotton, jute, silk, and wool, are obtained from plants and animals. These are called natural fibers. Cotton and jute are examples of fibers obtained from plants. Wool and silk fibers are obtained from animals. Wool is obtained from the fleece of sheep or goat. It is also obtained from the hair of rabbits, yak, and camels. It is also obtained from the hair of rabbits, yak, and camels. So we have sheep wool, goat wool, rabbit wool, yak wool, and camel wool. Wow! Sheep wool, goat wool, rabbit wool, yak wool, and camel wool. Silk fiber is drawn from the cocoon of the silkworm. For thousands of years, natural fibers were the only source available for making fabrics. In the last 100 years or so, fibers are also made from chemical substances. From chemical substances. Bujo has seen in the museums items like the one shown here. These were worn by warriors. He wants to know if these are made of some kinds of fibers. So, what is shown here is an armor made up of hooks of metal. This is so lovely. Bujo has seen a garment that is not made up of fiber, but that's made up of metal, and that is an armor. In the last 100 years or so, fibers are also made from chemical substances which are not obtained from plant or animal sources. These are called synthetic fibers. Synthetic fibers. Synthetic fibers are fibers which are not obtained from plant or animal sources. Some examples of synthetic fibers are polyester, nylon, and acrylic. Polyester, polyester, nylon, nylon, and acrylic, acrylic. 3.3 Some plant fibers. Cotton, cotton, cotton. Have you ever made wicks for oil lamps? Give me oil in my lamp, keep me burning. What do you use for making these wicks? This cotton wool is also used for filling mattresses, quilts, or pillows. Take some cotton wool, pull it apart, and look at its edges. What do you observe? The small, thin strands that you see are made up of cotton fibers. Where does this cotton wool come from? It is grown in the fields. Cotton plants are usually grown at places having black soil and warm climate. Can you name some states of our country where cotton is grown? The fruits of the cotton plant, cotton bolls, bolls, are about the size of a lemon. After maturing, the bolls burst open and the seeds covered with cotton fibers can be seen. Have you ever seen a cotton field that is ready for picking? It looks like a field covered with snow. From these bolls, bolls, cotton is usually picked by hand. Fibers are then separated from the seeds by combing. This process is called ginning of cotton.